The conversations that you don't want to have are the conversations that you need to have the most. Hello and welcome back, Visionaries, to another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about the conversations you don't want to have. Why we're going to talk about this? Well, because in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I had a couple of conversations that I really looked up to have. I did not want to have those conversations, but I know within my own mind frames and frameworks that the conversations you don't want to have are the conversations that you need the most. Because in those conversations, you confront what needs to be confronted. In my case, I had 2 conversations that I did not want to have. Well, I had more of those in my life in general, but I had one with one of the businesses that I work with, where I am a closer, and there was some things with the inbound structures, and there's a new sales manager, and I had some things that I wanted to say about him and everything around that. So I had to call the owner of the business that I work with, because they hired me as a sales consultant and I do my job as a sales consultant. But within all the new things that are happening in that company, due to all the changes, there were some things that were not right. So I needed to call the owner of that business to confront him with all those facts, to confront him with the results, with the things that are happening. Well, then you need to man the fuck up, call that person or search that person, plan in a conversation to have the hard conversation that you don't want to have. And in the end, it will always be good, because in those hard conversations, you confront him, he confronts you, you listen well, you have a good conversation, you try to understand them, they try to understand you, and you come to something with a good outcome. But in the beginning, you don't want to have that conversation. And when you look at why you don't want to have such a conversation, it is because of all the stories you tell yourself. Look at this. When you want to tell your parents something, but you know you did something bad, you stole something, or you got problems in school, or something like that, but you know you need to tell your parents. In your head, you make it a really big story and you start sweating and you don't want to have the conversation. In my case, it always wasn't that bad. In your head, you make the conversation so big, but in reality, it's just a conversation. And that's it with all the hard conversations that you will ever have. In your head, you make all kinds of stories, but in reality, it's just a conversation. I had that with the boss, with one of the companies that I work for as a sales consultant, and I also had it in my personal life with my best friend. Me and my best friend, we grew a bit apart from each other, and I started to feel irritated about him, he started to feel irritated about me, and it just did not all go that well. So what we needed to do, we needed to sit down and have a conversation about it. So what do you think of this friendship right now? Where do you want this friendship to go? What are the things you're searching for in a friendship? And we had a good conversation that was hard, and you need to swallow what he is saying over you, and he needs to swallow what you say over him or her, or it doesn't matter. But in the end, it's still a hard conversation that you need to have, and you do not look forward to have that conversation. But the more hard conversations you will have in your life, the more results will come to you. Because after every hard conversation that you have, you grow a bit. You grow a bit because you confronted a problem head on. You grow a bit, you get more results because you have an outcome of the conversation. So you can go further. Else, that conversation keeps on living in your head. And when a conversation lives in your head, it takes off a lot of energy of you. It takes off a lot of mental clarity. Why? Because you're busy in your head with that conversation. But when you have the hard conversations, when you confront things head on with the persons you need to speak with, you will have more results and you will have more mental clarity, because you have that one conversation that you don't want to have. People cannot look into your head. If you do not say what you want, people will never know what you want. If you never say how you feel about things, if you never say what you experience, you can never get that thing. People will never get you if you don't talk about it openly. That's one of the things that I learned along the way, and what I learned again when I had those two harder conversations, is that you need to open your mouth. You need to be a bit more brutal. Why the fuck would you care what other people think? Why the fuck would you care about the whole story in your head? Worst thing that can happen is you speak your mind, they get angry, you break up the conversation, you pause it, you say, whoa, we cannot have this conversation right now because we're both way too high in our emotions. You pause the conversation, you let some time pass, and then you go forward with the conversation. What happens if you do not have that conversation? Well, really simple. You will start talking behind people's back. You will start to have less mental clarity because the conversation still lives. Not in reality, but in your head. And we are people, and people have the psychological need to share things. And when you don't share with the person that you need to speak to what you want to share, you share it with others. You share it with people who are not even bounded to that whole conversation, that whole structure. And that's how things become toxic. When you have a toxic relation, when relations in general with business partners, with your normal partner, with your friends, when they are toxic, it means one thing. It means that you need to have conversations that are hard. It means you need to put on the dead rat that are under the table. You need to put them in front of them. You need to confront people. When you do not confront a problem, the problem will always be there. When you have that toxic relationships, there are multiple things that need to be said from both sides. When you don't talk about things, things will always be toxic. I personally do not want to live a toxic life. I had many hard conversations with my girlfriends. Sometimes I pointed out, sometimes she pointed out, but we have the conversation and we have open and clear communication. And that's why we're almost 2 years in the same relationship. That's why me and my best friends are best friends right now for 8 years. We always call them our marriage conversations, me and my best friends. That once in a while we need to sit together and put all our shit on the table to open our hearts and have a good conversation. And that's why our friendship after fucking 8 years since middle school is still working. And that's why he is still my best friend. So the point of all of this is be fucking open and honest. Just be open and honest. Be open and honest to your parents, to have the conversation you don't want to have with them. Be open and honest to your friends, to have the conversation you don't want to have with them. They confront me, I confront them. That's how you help each other grow. You're just human, everybody makes mistakes. It's all okay. Even a business owner that I work with, he makes mistakes as well. He hires me as a sales consultant. If I'm not happy, the stories I will tell will live under the table, and then at one point I say, ciao, I go, by the way, this and this was happening. No, he will not grow from that. He will think, wow, what a lousy sales consultant did I hire? No, he wants to know what is happening so he can act and react on it. And when he acts and reacts on it, he can improve his business, I can do a better job, and the company grows. Same within friendships, same within relationships. Have the conversations you don't want to have, because in the end, it will give you more mental clarity. In the end, you will speak your mind and you get more of what you want. And in the end, this is how toxicity in relations will disappear. This is what helps you create a life that matters. This is what helps you create deeper conversations, deeper connections. People want to hear the fucking truth. Well, I think my message is clear. I think that sharing my experience within the conversations that you don't want to have, but the conversations that you need to have, is really clear. And now just act on it. Because you can consume whatever you want, but if you do not act on it, you will have nothing. Change happens in action. If you do not go into action, nothing will change. And everybody has conversations that they need to have. I still have them. Everyone has them. But the more hard conversations you will have, the more you will grow and the more result will come your way. All right, that's it for today. I hope you learned something. I hope you get the message and have harder conversations in your life and confront things and be fucking open and honest. And then I will say like, subscribe, put the notification bell on if you think this was valuable, share it with others. And yeah, ciao.